Today's video is sponsored by Surfshark VPN. The other day I found myself on the train from Dover when who should enter my compartment but my dear old friend Lionel Forbes Mackenzie. "Forbes Mackenzie, old cake, what are you doing here?" I asked. "I thought you were in Uterkamund." "I was, hazard old bean," he said, "but it's the most dashed thing. That absolute hound, Captain Swellingham, has been telling everyone that I don't know what Surfshark VPN is, and as a consequence I've been shunned by all the most respectable people in town." "Well," I said, "didn't you tell him that it's a virtual private network that offers you an extra layer of privacy when surfing the internet thanks to its advanced encryption?" "That's just the thing, old sport," said Forbes Mackenzie. "I didn't know any of that. Nor was I aware until fairly recently that it allows you to pretend to be in any one of 65 countries, enabling you to view streaming services from all over the world, to see region-locked content, and to take advantage of country-specific lower prices when shopping online. And I was entirely ignorant of the fact that unlike other VPNs, Surfshark can be used on an unlimited number of devices. I do wish I had Surfshark." I laughed. "Ha ha! Forbes Mackenzie, old crumpet, you're in luck. For you see, if you visit Surfshark VPN using the link appearing on screen and in the description below, and you enter the code JAGO at checkout, you can get 83% off a 2-year plan, plus 3 months extra free, with a 30-day money-back guarantee if you're not completely satisfied." Forbes Mackenzie smiled. "I say, hazard old spat, I really am most grateful. Now I'll head back to Uti and give that Captain Swellingham what for." Then we were attacked by Zeppelin pirates, but that's another story. A while back, quite a long while back in fact, I made a video talking about the old Piccadilly line spur to Aldwych and the never-realised plan to extend it to Waterloo. Well, there's a lot more to it that I didn't talk about, because frankly I didn't know about it at the time. So, long story short, the Piccadilly line was originally the Great Northern Piccadilly and Brompton Railway and was created by merging a number of different planned underground lines together. One of the lines that got absorbed was the Great Northern and Strand Railway, which was planned to run from Finsbury Park to Strand. The merger created what was then the longest tube line, running all the way from Finsbury Park to Hammersmith. There was no real need for the little stub to Strand, but they built it anyway. Ever since then, the line to Strand, later renamed Aldwych, has been an awkward and unpopular little branch that nobody's ever really known what to do with. The station closed in 1994, but the branch is still there. At various times, proposals have been made to extend it somehow, and approval was even obtained to extend it to Waterloo. In 1967, Eric Lubbock, MP for Orpington, put forward a scheme to make use of this authorised extension. And then things get interesting. At Waterloo, he proposed, the line would take over the Bakerloo line, absorbing Lambeth North and running down to Elephant and Castle. As for the Bakerloo line, well, that wouldn't terminate at Waterloo. Oh no. It would take over the Waterloo and City line. The Waterloo and City line is another of those odd little bits of the underground that people can't leave alone. There's always some proposal to take it over, or extend it, or build an extra station, or something. Anyway, in this case, the Bakerloo line would cross the river at Embankment, the way it does now, and then it would swing around at Waterloo and head back across the river to Bank, via the Waterloo and City line. Then there would have been a loop line with a station at Liverpool Street and another at Fenchurch Street, and it would have rejoined the main line at Bank. So we'd now be looking at a very different tube map had this proposal gone ahead. I guess the obvious question I have to ask here is, why? In theory, the proposal was a response to the fact that while there were many schemes in the offing to improve rail transport north of the River Thames, there was very little going on south of the river. The Victoria line was to open the following year, but wouldn't get south of the river until 1971. The Fleet line, that would become the Jubilee line, was in the planning stages, but at that point it looked like it would mostly stay north. Historically, the boroughs south of the Thames have always been poorly served by the underground due to gravelly soil that makes tunnelling difficult and an abundance of main line railways. But would this scheme have resolved matters? It wasn't actually going to build any new lines other than the bits needed to connect the existing lines together. The Piccadilly would gain access south of the river, but the Bakerloo would lose everything in the south apart from Waterloo. The good folk of Elephant and Castle would gain access to Holborn, King's Cross and stations north, but they'd lose access to the West End. Then there's the question of engineering, which I am absolutely certain was not considered in this proposal at all. Curving the Bakerloo tunnels around to join the Waterloo and City would be a very tight squeeze. Essentially, the line would have to double back on itself. Even if you managed that, you have the problem that the Central line is in the way at Bank. So you'd likely have to rebuild the Waterloo and City line. The Piccadilly line would also require some very tight curves to join with the Bakerloo line. The whole scheme would have been horrendously expensive and horrendously complicated, and I honestly don't see what the point would have been in the end. I certainly don't see how it would have improved matters for South Londoners in any measurable way. Anyway, as we know, nothing came of any of this in the end. Later on, there would be measures to improve transport for South Londoners. The Fleet line would be realised as the Jubilee line, and it would get its extension south of the river. The Docklands Light Railway would also extend south to Lewisham and Woolwich, and the Overground would run extensively through South London. There's a scheme to extend the Bakerloo line to Lewisham and possibly Hayes, but that's currently on hold due to TfL being rather short of the old lolly at the moment. And Eric Lubbock? Well, he would later put forward an equally unsuccessful proposal to donate his body to Battersea Dogs Home. Hello there, I hope you enjoyed this Northern Biased tale from the tube. If you did, then you may also enjoy clicking the like button down there. If you really enjoyed it, you may really enjoy subscribing for more. Thanks as ever to my generous chums on Ko-fi and Patreon for your support. You are the sensible tube line proposal to my southern districts. And thanks also to Surfshark for sponsoring this video. Check out the link in the description below to take advantage of their generous offer. And I'll see you all again very soon for another tale from the tube.